Welcome to Spring LIB.
Hello students. This question talks about sex-linked inheritance, particularly the X-linked traits. So keeping this in mind, let us answer the questions one by one. Fill in the blanks. The first one. X-linked, also called as sex-linked traits, are inherited on the X chromosome. The second question, which gender, male or female, is most likely to have X-linked trait? So, because, let me write it down here, males, they have just one X, whereas females have two X, so it is more likely that the male will have the X-linked traits. Why? Because he has just one X, so this Y cannot counter the trait in the X chromosome. So the answer is male. Third question. Males have only one X chromosome and females have two X chromosome. Coming to the fifth question. Why does a single X chromosome that carries the allele for color blindness makes males to be colorblind, but it doesn't cause color blindness in females? Again, the reason is because males have only one X chromosome, whereas females have two. So because males have just one and females have two, if the male were to inherit the color blindness gene, then this color blindness cannot be countered by the Y chromosome. That is why it is expressed in the males, whereas females, even if she has one X chromosome which codes for color blindness, but if she has the other X chromosome which is normal, then she would have normal vision, because the normal X chromosome can counter the other affected X chromosome, thereby giving her normal vision. But keep in mind that the female will be a carrier of the color blindness gene. Coming to the sixth question. A carrier for an X-linked trait is the one who has inherited the X chromosome which has genes for the disorder. So say for example, if a female inherits the color blindness gene from her father and the other normal X chromosome from her mother, then she will be a carrier. So mostly in the X-linked traits, it is mostly the females that are the carriers. Coming to the second part of the question, which says that a male has the same X chromosome as his paternal grandfather. This cannot happen, so no, he does not. Then the answer to the second question, a male has the same X chromosome as his paternal grandfather. The answer is yes. So let us explain first why males has XY chromosome. So the X chromosome is inherited from his mother, while the Y chromosome is inherited from his father. The X chromosome which comes from the mother either comes from the grandfather or grandmother. Why? Because females have two X chromosome. So this female can inherit one X from her father and one X from her mother, thereby passing on one X chromosome to her son. So this male can either get the maternal grandfather or the maternal grandmother's X chromosome, but remember that the Y chromosome always comes from the father, which means that the father also has XY chromosome. So this Y chromosome can only be inherited or passed on from his paternal grandfather. Coming to the next question. A female has the same X chromosome as her maternal grandmother. Yes. And a female has the same X chromosome as her maternal great-great-grandmother. The answer is again yes. Let us explain why. Females have two X chromosomes, which means that one X comes from her mother and the other X comes from her father. So this mother may have inherited the X chromosome from her mother, which makes the grandmother or grandfather. And this grandmother may have inherited it from her grandmother, so which makes this the relation is her great grandmother. Whereas the other X chromosome came from the father, so this X chromosome from the father can either come from the grandmother or the grandfather, but biologically it is always the paternal grandmother. Hope you found this video useful. Thank you.